Episode 203 is called An Inconvenient Lie, and it's pretty inconvenient for Dexter that he is unable to tell any convincing lies. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. It is Dexter Season 2, Episode 3, and unfortunately for Dexter, Rita can just see through every little lie he tells, but we do get introduced to a pretty damn convincing liar in a used car salesman in this episode. But we begin with the anonymous meetings. Dexter's sitting there completely bored out his head, listening to people share their stories about how they're addicts and how they've managed to go 7 days without a little drop of alcohol. And people are really celebrating things that we could do in our sleep. And Dexter's sitting there just depressed, thinking, why the hell am I here?
Why is he here? I hate these anonymous meetings, and I like the fact that Dexter ain't buying into it. He doesn't want to be there. Like we wouldn't. It's all, I'm 11 days sober. See these people that go to these, right? Well done, but let's not pretend you're fucking superheroes for laying off the junk or laying off the drink or gambling. You're fucking just go cold turkey.
Yep. So I mean, these people are saying they haven't had a drink in like a week, and Dexter's thinking it's been about a week since I last sharpened my knives. He inspects the donuts. I don't know if they're paying homage here to the donuts that Dexter normally brings into work, but these ones certainly are not as good. He knocks them on the surface and they make like this loud song sound. So
Singing donuts.
No, they're not singing donuts, but they're fucking hard, okay? They're bricks.
Yeah, like a sugar donut and a Air McDonald's.
Immovable objects, these things are, right? That's what they are.
Not very hollow.
Some woman called Lila checks out Dexter, but then Dexter leaves to go back with Rita's, but instead of taking some stale donuts, he's unpacking a Chinese.
I'd love a Chinese right now, absolutely, but Dexter's got one right here, right now.
What do you think Dexter orders at the Chinese out of curiosity?
Sweet chili, the sweet chili chicken, because it reminds him of blood.
Down.
Even though he got squeamish that one time about blood, but anyway, right. Rita sees right through his lie, says, "Where's your newcomer's chip, big man?" He's like, I left before the end, but I was right to the end, but right left before the end. Right, he digs himself
I stayed to the end, the very end. Okay, I left just before the end.
Exactly what I said, man. He's dug himself a hole with this, right? And look, my problem is with this, it's not really a writing flaw, but she's like so up his ass about this, but it's like she let Paul walk over the fucking top here. Fucking give the guy a break. He's not even a junkie, he's a murderer.
Did she though?
Well, she kind of did.
When?
Well, in the past.
And that's in the past, and she's saying she's not going to do it again. You're a moron to actually... How's that a writing flaw? She says that she's not...
it was a writing flaw. I literally just said it's not a writing flaw. If we want to go back, I just don't... I get it.
So what you're saying is people don't change? Isn't that a reason that she wouldn't let Dexter walk over it?
I'm saying people can change, and it is a reason, but I don't like the turn it is. It's like, fucking give Big Dex a break here.
So you think
being right up his ass?
So you think Dexter deserves a break because Paul was a cunt?
Yeah, and she's landed on her feet with Dexter. Yeah, I genuinely think that.
But can you not see why she doesn't want to go down the same road she went down with Paul?
Yeah, but he ain't even... it's not even a problem with Rita, it's the fact that Dexter's dug himself in this hole, and she's taking it to the fucking grave.
Well, you don't need to worry about it because Dexter promises that he's going to go back the next day and Rita forgives him. At the station, we have a run-in with Dexter and Dokes. They're in the elevator. Dexter's like, hold the elevator. He jumps inside it and he doesn't realise that Dokes is there. So Dokes didn't hold the elevator. Although I'm a little bit surprised.
What flaw, motherfucker?
I thought Dokes would have maybe wanted the opportunity to spend 30 seconds alone with Dexter just to suss him out. But I guess he doesn't need to when he's tailing him every night.
No, sniffing him up, all that weird fucking shit that he does.
Dokes brings up the fact that he ran through a yellow light last night and warns Dexter that he'll see him again later.
He went through a yellow light? What's wrong with going through a yellow light? It's amber, mate.
Probably done that to get away from Dokes. Right. I bet Dokes has went through a few red lights in his lifetime.
Of course he has.
We have Batista, Masuka, and LaGuerta being overwhelmed by people trying to get information about their missing loved ones. So all these people have came forward. I guess they believe that the bodies of the Bay Harbor Butcher could belong to their loved ones. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of people inside the department. But Esme Pascal, she's been on the news, she's not handling it well. I think everyone's losing faith in Esme Pascal. She's like giving interviews and she's not really doing a good job, not really up to date with the correct information. She just sucks at her fucking job.
Yeah, you know what? Easily, I know, she's not designed to be good, obviously, but easily the worst thing about this season is this character. I get that's what they're going for, but I think it's actually unbelievable she's still in the job even to this point.
Now, Masuka comments how much she's off her game, and he also comments how big the boss's melons look on TV. So, what comment do you think was more appropriate?
Masuka's great, man, but she's the first one. She's horrendous. Like, she's so supposed to be the leader, and she gets on like it's her first day at the job.
Dexter, though, looks at the crowd and doesn't believe that any of their loved ones are among the victims because he only kills the bad people. Then we get Captain Thomas Matthews. He gives the team a pep talk. Frank Lundy's task force is announced, and the people that are put on his force are chosen. We've got Batista, Masuka, and Deborah Morgan. We've got a bunch of other people that aren't really characters, but they're just there.
Yeah, and
background characters.
And they're all picked before anyone with a fucking name's picked, and it's like, alright, fair enough, but obviously a police force consists more of like your core cast of a TV show, so this is understandable in my eyes.
But Dexter's happy that he's not been picked because that means that he won't have to track evidence. And he doesn't want to be on Lundy's team because he thinks being on Lundy's team might actually potentially give him away. So
I'm intrigued to see where this goes though, because obviously Dexter is the actual killer. So maybe someone will try and take credit, like that weird looking fucking guy in season 1.
Forget his name.
Fred Perry or something.
Fred Perry.
Where did I pluck that from?
That's a good pick though. Good pluck. Special Agent Lundy then addresses the team. The first task is to ID the bodies, which of course is probably the best thing to do, but I mean it must be hard to ID bodies that have been, although to be fair, I mean they were all wrapped up pretty good, and I mean Masuka even mentions how the fact that the bodies have been maintained despite being underwater so long, so I guess IDing them isn't as hard as it would have been had they been out in the open and water had been getting to them.
Is this the episode though where Deborah points out maybe we should run a few of these guys through the system because 2 of them are criminals? Is it?
I believe so.
Right. Why wouldn't that be the first thing you'd do? Because automatically, if they're in the system, you can ID them. Without doing that, you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
So you just assume that there's 18 dead bodies in the water. They must be criminals.
Yeah, but that's the quickest way to ID them. To see if they're prior. To ID that's how you do it. Right. Put it this way. Right?
But there would be no reason to assume that they're criminals.
It's a quick way to ID them. It's better being safe than sorry rather than chasing your own tail for 3 months. If she doesn't find this out, they would be relying on their strange wife bringing a fucking toothbrush.
I think sometimes you pluck out these crazy ideas that you can only use with hindsight.
Crazy idea. How the fuck's that a crazy idea?
So 18 dead bodies. Let's check if they're all criminals.
Now, who's saying that? Let's run them through the database.
Yeah, but
find their DNA in case they are criminals.
But once they determine 2's criminals, then they can put 2 and 2 together. But for you to get 18 bodies in your first
I think that you should be looking for the most efficient way to gather DNA evidence, and that's by any means necessary.
So you know more than Frank Lundy, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think this guy's overrated.
You know more than Frank.
This guy found Bin Laden. He found Madeline McCann, and here he is. He can't fucking do this.
So it turns out you know more about identifying bodies than Special Agent Frank Lundy, but do you know more about used SUVs than car salesman Roger Hicks?
Probably not, but you know what? This is my favourite character this season so far. This guy stole the show for me. His quick wit, his lying ability. Honestly, in terms of a one-off character that appeared in one episode, he might be up there all time.
All-time characters from it.
He wasn't insane, but I think
I'd give him a good 8, 9 out of 10.
Aye, for what he did.
So Dexter is at New Car Law. He's looking at an SUV, but he's not really looking at an SUV. He is looking to drag in a car salesman who goes by the name of Roger Hicks because Dexter has linked him to 2 killings. So Hicks approaches Dexter and he gives him the whole, do you want this family car? I've got a family. This car's good for my family, but meanwhile, Dexter knows this guy ain't got a family. This guy is talking shit.
You got no wife. You got no kids.
So he's got a cup of coffee. He's going to try and get the DNA off that. He sees a hair comb. He's going to try and get some DNA off that. Unfortunately, though, the coffee cup goes into the bin. Although that's not stopped Dexter from raking bins before. But on this occasion, he doesn't bother because he has the comb. Then Roger Hicks shows him the back of the SUV. Shows him the storage in the back. Says that you could fit a deer carcass in there, and he says that the tinted windows come in handy, and all of a sudden Dexter's like, hold on, you've had no deer carcass in there, you've had human bodies.
Yeah, you know what? He put his cards on the table with this one without revealing what he had. The hand was there, and this guy, the mask is beginning to slip. But Dexter, sociopath to another one, can see right through it.
Well, I wouldn't say the mask is beginning to slip, like.
Yeah, no, but obviously Dexter can kind of see, obviously, right, well, this guy's killed people here. Obviously, this guy thinks it's alright, but Dexter's too good for that shit. See the fact Dexter, though, can, work out who's killed people before his department even gets a sniff yet?
Yeah, see if you put that much effort into actually doing work.
He'd be top man of this department.
I think the people that they could put away in jail.
Yeah.
But he'd rather undo the apartment and keep them out of jail to kill them. Right. Weird. Anyway, Dexter arrives to the station in his new SVU. Maria arrives beside him and asks Dexter if he's getting married because he's bought a mommy mobile. Dexter then checks Hick's hair from the stolen comb under a microscope, only to discover that it's synthetic, so it's a wig. It's not even his real hair. Speaking of real hair, or lack of it, Masuka then appears and he manages to talk Dexter into temporarily joining his team in helping Lundy's investigation, which Dexter didn't want to do because it would maybe bring attention to him, but unfortunately, Masuka calls him daddy as well, gets him temporarily assigned.
Yeah, a weird scene here for Masuka calling Dexter daddy, but you know what, I like the relationship. I think it's one of the better things of the show, but you could argue either way for Dexter. Is it a good thing to be on this, or is it not? I think the cons of it is, well, you know everything that's going on. If you're not an overly paranoid guy, I think it would be good, beneficial. But Dexter is, he overthinks stuff, and I think this is mental health city.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a better idea for Dexter to be on it? Because then he'd know 100% what's happening, rather than have to scramble for information.
I need to find out what Masuka knows about the rocks.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better if he was actually on the task force and then he would know what Lundy knows? Or what Lundy's willing to share?
Yeah, but I think Dexter's that good at covering his tracks. I don't honestly see how any of this stuff could unless he colossally slipped up, I don't see how this would ever lead back to him. Now, I know with the rocks, I know that's more episode 4, but his boat's docked at that marina, but realistically, who the fuck's going to suspect him of all this?
Right, well, you're getting ahead of yourself there.
Yeah, but anyway, I think the best thing he can do is actually nothing. I think once he starts breaking into places and trying to cover his tracks, that's leaving the door open. So Dexter, son, reel it in like a fishing rod. On your boat, Dexter.
But speaking of getting reeled in, Deb's trying to reel in a grieving widow. She's got a toothbrush. She says, come on, this toothbrush could belong to one of the missing persons. And this is probably a good way of getting DNA, a toothbrush. But Deborah doesn't really want to do it anymore. I think she's getting flashbacks of PTSD. The ice truck killer. And she just doesn't want... She's not about that life anymore. She's trying to distance herself from that. And she can't really go over it well, interviewing and being on this case for the Bay Harbour butcher. So she talks to Lundy about getting taken off the task force. Lundy tells her that he will find a replacement as quickly as possible, but tells her in the meantime to keep continuing the interviews. And Deb, kind of willingly agrees, but she's not too happy about it. She just wants out. What's your thoughts on Deborah recovering from what happened last season? Should she even be back at work at this point? I mean, we've seen her punch someone, we've seen her point a gun at a kid and make him piss his pants.
Normally, no, right? She shouldn't really be there because she's not really fit for work. But then if you look who's running the thing, not Lundy, who's the woman called?
Esme.
Yeah, right. If she wasn't there and it was still Lagarta, I would say Deborah should be nowhere near this, which Lagarta actually pointed out. But if the top person is worse than you, then there's not really a case for you not to be there. And she is a good detective, but her head's not really in the game at the minute.
Yeah, Masuka then shows Dexter the field morgue, and all the bodies are getting reassembled, basically. They're beginning to find limbs, they're patching limbs together, and Dexter's just sitting there thinking, this is not the way I planned this is not the way it's supposed to be. He wants to remember his victims as nice, clean cuts and packages.
Yeah, and this is kind of cool, seeing all these bodies pieced together. It would be like a wee jigsaw puzzle, but I'm surprised that they've actually went with this storyline in Season 2. I thought you could maybe save this for later down the line. That's not me saying it's bad or anything. But Dexter, 18 bodies or so and counting.
I wonder how many he's actually got to this point.
Yeah, just because they found 18, I guess he could have just dumped them somewhere else.
Later that night, Dexter goes back to his little meetings. Lila's there again. She keeps checking Dexter out. The person that's conducting it asks who wants a newcomer chip, and Dexter, who's not offered anything to the meeting, just puts his hand up and says me.
I'm Bob.
He is then invited to share. He stands on the podium and decides that his name's going to be Bob. It's a pretty generic name.
Yeah, no one. Yeah.
Bob the Builder. He then tries to build a story.
Bob the Junkie.
About how he is a junkie and that he is a drug user. Lila then later says to Bob, look, those donuts are shit and so is the coffee. Let's go next door. She goes next door and she just like sees through Dexter, says that you're lying, your name's not Bob. You know, that was a bullshit performance you gave in there, but a good performance nonetheless. And when the more Lila talks to Dexter, the more Dexter's thinking, crap, I can't be here because people can see through me and that's bad for me if they find out what I really am. And then Lila mentions his dark passenger, and at this point Dexter kind of is unnerved and he's like, I can't do this, I'm gone. He puts down a couple of dollars and he leaves. He's like, fuck it, thanks for the coffee. He said thanks to for the coffee as if she paid for it, but he put money down, so I'm not too sure. Anyway, I
think he meant for the suggestion, like, thanks for taking time out your day to be with me here. Now, fuck off.
Now, Dexter gets home, he brings the newcomer's chip like it's a prized possession. He's like, Rita, look at what I got the newcomer's chip, but then he says the meetings aren't good for him because he's worried about potentially getting found out. And the next thing, he finds himself at the front door with it slamming in his face, and Rita tells Dexter that she hopes that he changes his mind so they can get back together.
See, once you get the newcomer's chip, can he not just lie about all the other meetings he's been to? Like,
I highly doubt you get the second coming.
The second week, the third week.
Remember, they're pretty sad. Like the way they celebrate sobriety, maybe they do.
Yeah, you probably get one each fucking second, but yeah, I think he could definitely still go, but a reduced schedule. I don't think he needs to go to every meeting.
Yeah, I think so as well. Next day, Dexter returns to the car lot, telling Hicks that he's interested in the extended warranty and roof racks. Hicks says that he's busy and he can't really do it for him right now. He'll get someone else, but Dexter's like, no. I want you, big man. I will wait in your office.
Main event player, this guy.
Yep. He then goes to the office and he collects DNA evidence for the trash can. I believe it is is it a cup that he had? I think it might have been. Don't know if it's the same coffee cup.
It was a tissue.
Oh yeah, it's tissue. So he gets the tissue.
Disgusting.
That's what it is. Has to get something. He's interrupted by a woman dropping off a thank you note for Hicks. She tells Dexter that she didn't have good credit and couldn't buy a car, but Hicks was kind enough to send her across the street to another lot, and so Hicks has really helped her out. Dexter's alarmed at this, but he realizes that she matches the profile for Hicks and that she is likely to be his next target. And he's worried because right now he doesn't really want to draw attention to himself, especially with Dokes on the case. But if he doesn't stop Hicks, then Harry's code's kind of out the window because he's going to sit by and watch
It's smart for Hicks, though, because he's sending her across the street to make it look like, here, you should be looking at the guy across the street.
No, definitely, but that's the profile that Hicks seems to go for. Single women that have bad credit and no money.
But decent houses where they've got no neighbours close by, within close proximity. No apartments. Detached houses.
At the station, Esme attempts to get a credit check on her fiancé. She wants to keep an eye on what he's been doing. And, I mean, just think the fact that they're trying to solve this Bay Harbour Butcher case and she's getting credit checks ran on her fiancé.
What happened to don't bring your personal life into work? This is like... I mean, what the... I actually cannot believe how long she lasts in this role.
Maria tries to sell her that, look, we need to get to work, we need to focus on catching this guy. She agrees, but then out of nowhere, her fiancé shows up, and Esme kind of just rushes Maria out her office, and Esme and the fiancé argue, and it's like, Jesus Christ, how is this woman still in charge? Dexter gets the Hicks DNA, and it matches, so he knows he's the killer 100%, and he now has to take Hicks out. Hicks is a goner.
Hicks has to go, just like Hicks for aliens. It's good night. It's all over for him.
Dexter calls Rita about pizza night, says what does she want him to bring in?
Pepperoni.
But she says that, have you been back to the meetings? He's like, no, and well, the kids and me will just eat in until he gets his act together. So Dexter sits there pondering whether or not he has been dumped.
Yeah, and he's been hard done by, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But he dug it himself, so own it.
Deborah goes back to Lundy, says what's taking it so long to get her off the task force. She says that there's loads of people that would love to be on the task force, and Lundy agrees. He says, everybody wants to be on this, so why do you want off? And she just says that she shouldn't be on this task force because what she went through with Ice Truck Killer. She's like, how could I be on a task force? How can I try and find a killer when I was dating one and I was engaged to one and I didn't even see it? But Lundy doesn't look at it that way. He thinks that because of Deb's experience and her first-hand experience that she should be on this case because she knows what it's like to be with a killer and see a killer and be around a killer. So
I mean, it makes sense for Lundy, but if she literally can't cope in the role, I think it's time to pull the plug.
And Lundy suggests that maybe she couldn't do anything about the Ice Truck Killer, but now she's got a chance to kill someone even worse than the Ice Truck Killer.
It's funny though.
Catch someone.
She's connected to both of them.
Yeah, now she's got a chance to catch someone worse than the Ice Truck Killer, so she goes back to the interviews. We've got Captain Matthews. He wants Maria to drop some dirt on Pascal for her erratic behaviour. Matthews seems to think he's made a mistake by putting her in charge, and it's almost like he's willing to give Maria the position back, but Maria doesn't dob Pascal in it, and she says that the code, she's got like a non-male code, and she's not going to dignify rumours, and she walks away. But
it's intriguing why she wouldn't do this, considering what happens next, to be honest. But here, maybe it's just to make your wee story look a bit more realistic, Maria Lagerta.
Well, what's better, Maria getting back in through, or her taking like the underhanded tactics?
Well, true, but here, she's not very good. The 1 minute her job, and
yeah. So what's better, Maria waiting until she gets the position back because Esme finally cracks, or her underhanded spreading rumours?
Spreading rumours, it's the fucking rumours, it's the truth. And you say underhanded tactics, I mean that's how she gets back in anyway.
But no one knows she's doing that.
Well,
if she starts spreading dirt on her, then everyone's going to know.
Spreading dirt, but it's the truth. She's fucking shite. Obviously, I know what Lagerta's going for, but either way, man, this person couldn't run a fucking bath, let alone a department.
Dexter leaves, and Dokes is waiting for him. Dokes tells Dexter he'll see him for pizza night. So Dokes has got Dexter nailed down. He knows what night is Chinese night. He knows what night is pizza night.
I guarantee you, Dokes knows what 9 toppings are on his pizza.
You think
green pepper, pepperoni, and a slice of motherfucker.
You think he gets that many toppings?
Maybe not 9, like, but I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he would. I could imagine. What would Dokes have in his pizza? I could see Dokes as a not even just crust, just fucking crust. A big Malteser in the middle.
Dexter goes to survey his work in the field morgue. Lundy's in there. Lundy's just waiting. Dexter's like, "Are you waiting on the bodies talking to you?" And Lundy says, "Only the ones with heads." Lundy then says that he suspects that the killer had a twisted set of principles, and he says there can never be any justification for killing. But Lundy corrects himself, or corrects Dexter, even though they're both saying the same thing, and he says that the only way you can kill is to save an innocent life. That's the only justification, and technically that's what Dexter's going to do now.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Dexter's done, though, this entire...
But before he kills Hicks, he's got to slash Dokes' car tyre.
You slashed my Michelin, motherfucker.
Because he doesn't want him following him. So Dexter then turns up at the car lot. He startles Hicks. Hicks, this was a great conversation. So Hicks is like, I'm busy. I got to get back to the wife.
You don't have a wife. Ex-wife.
And
the kids.
They aren't yours. It's her kids.
Step kids.
And they just they keep going back and forward here. Dexter then ends up choking him out with a wire because Hicks was like, I don't give a shit anymore. Screw you.
It's funny though how he's that much of a liar, compulsive liar, that he didn't see that Dexter knew all this information. He's seen it more as I have to lie. I have to lie.
Yeah, he didn't even see that. He didn't even see it worrying. It's the fact that Dexter knew all this stuff wasn't true about him.
Yeah.
He just kept telling the lie after lie after lie.
But the turn is back. Like, what? Come on, Hicks. I was rooting for you, but turn your back on Dexter after this, man.
So Dexter strangles him with a piano wire. Then when he wakes up, Dexter he admires him a little bit. At first, Hicks says you've got the wrong guy. But then Dexter's like, why can't I be like you? Why can't I lie like you? Because he says, all Hicks has ever done since Dexter met him is lie his ass off, and Dexter wants to know how you can do it.
See, to be honest though, right, it's easy to lie to people you don't know. like it's hard. It's harder for Dexter to lie to people he does know, even though he's been doing it pretty much his whole life. But it's so much. Like, that's every car salesman though.
Yep.
They will sell you. They could sell ice to the fucking Eskimos, man.
I agree. But Dexter then opens up about Rita a little bit, and Hicks says that, you know, you don't need women, they're not worth it. He says that you're better off without that cunt, but Dexter then just kills him on impulse and says, don't speak about my girlfriend like that. Which maybe shows that Dexter does care about Rita to an extent. Later that night, Dexter, well, just after the kill really, Dexter goes back to his meetings and he starts using his real name. So Bob is out the window. He shares with the group that there's something dark within him, and when the dark passenger is driving, he feels alive. So it's almost like when this dark thing inside him is glowing, so to speak, Dexter truly is thriving, and that's when he feels most alive, when he's being bad, when he's being controlled by the dark passenger. He tells the group that nothing else could love him, and he wonders if something... Only the dark passenger loves Dexter, he thinks, and he admits that he doesn't feel connected to anyone else, and that it's only this dark passenger inside that is getting him through life, and that he is scared by that feeling. Lila and the group applaud Dexter. Dexter takes his seat. The group then gather round for prayer, and then out of nowhere we've got Doak standing in the background, and Dexter's like, oh fuck. Doak says that he knew Dexter's strange behaviour all along was for some reason, and now it makes sense. He says that a lot of cops turn to drugs and alcohol. Dokes tells Dexter to stay clean and out of his way, and they won't have a problem any longer. And Dexter's amazed because he thinks that he's just got off scot-free.
He pretty much has those.
I mean, this is an upgrade because Dokes thought the guy was a killer or was related to a killer, and now he just thinks that he's a junkie. So
realistically, though, why would him being a junkie completely rule out being any of that, though? I guess it makes for something, but I think it was amazing how Dokes went from like hating this guy to like almost sympathy. It was sympathy.
I don't know if it was that much. Like,
no, his demeanour changed when he's like, he was like, yeah, it's a tough job, ours. You keep at it.
You owe me a new Michelin, motherfucker. So Dokes wants his tyre back.
Yeah, I mean, say he didn't find him at this meeting, how would they have took to that tyre getting slashed if he still thought he was a killer?
At the station, Debs is interviewing an anxious man about his missing father. Debs says we'll try and find him as quickly as possible, and the man tells Deborah, no, don't. I want him to be rotten in hell so that my family is safe. And then Debs recalls a previous interview and finds Lundy saying that 2 of the missing persons have prison records, and could that be something that they all have in common? Could the killer be going after people with records? And they believe that there may be a pattern. Lundy tells Deborah to run the victim's DNA against the criminal database. So this makes sense to me, but you think this should have happened
well, I think it's
earlier when there was no sign that any of these people were criminals?
Yeah, but, you know, this Lundy guy wants to find out what the patterns, what the connections is. I think leave no stone unturned. It's my approach. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's what I would have went for. And Lundy got there in the end, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
So you're better than Lundy. You should be replacing him. Fog Entertainment's in, Lundy's out.
Aye. Because no, I'd said, but like, it's Dexter, mate, I'm watching the show, you're not.
A happy Dexter then wakes up to Rita the next day, and he tells her, look, you're right, this 12-step program is great, and it's working for me. And Dexter gets forgiven by Rita. Next day, they drive the brand new SVU to Dexter's meeting. Rita drops him off, and he says, there's my new sponsor over there. She goes, oh, the big fat guy, even though he wasn't that fat.
The chubby guy.
But no, he walks away, and he's like, no, the person and behind him, and it turns out to be Lila, and then you just see Rita looking at Lila, and she seems worried, and I'm guessing jealous that she doesn't like the fact that Rita is hanging around with another woman. But you know what, I think that's fucking bullshit. She pushed for him to go to this meeting, and now she's annoyed that he happens to have a sponsor that's a female. It's like Dexter just can't win here.
It's very petty, isn't it?
You know, he goes from... If he doesn't go, he's an arsehole. But if he goes and happens to be paired up with a female sponsor, he's also an arsehole. It's like, I mean, Dexter can't win.
Yeah, it stems back to... I mean, you let Paul walk over you, now Dexter actually is doing the right thing and he still can't do the right thing? Come on, man. Know your role.
Well, anyway, that was it. That was the end of the episode. What did you think of the quote when Thomas Matthews says the ice truck killer was an amateur compared to this guy? So basically, this guy thinks Rudy's got nothing on Dexter.
I think it's just more down to the sheer amount of bodies. I mean, how many did the ice truck killer kill?
Not 12.
12, and they were mostly hookers. I mean, it wasn't like these. I think he's just going to feud this guy killing criminals. And the fact that they've only found 18, there could be more. But I think it's a bit of. I mean, it's not really here who's the best killer, but...
Well, you don't need to overthink it. What I was more suggesting was, do you think Dexter takes anything for that? I think I'm the better...
Didn't seem to.
I'm the better Moser killer here.
Yeah, but does it automatic... in your eyes, is the ice truck killer an amateur compared to this guy? Is he? I wouldn't consider him an amateur. I mean, you could kill more people. Does that mean you're a worse killer or a better killer? What's his reason? Or is it just to simply get his team on board about, here, you thought the ice truck killer was bad? Wait, do you see this motherfucker?
Possibly, it could be that. Anyway, rating time. What's your thoughts? What are you giving it?
I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it. I like where we're going. I'm just intrigued to see how... Is Dexter going to pin it on someone, or is he simply going to... Wait, I don't know. He's not so I got to pin it on someone. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I'll give it an 8.
I'm also going to give it an 8. I really like the car salesman. I know he was only in it for a short, brief time, but I thought the guys...
The many antagonists, like Little Chino and this guy, have delivered.
Yeah, and we've got some new characters as well. We've got Lila, and we've got Lundy as well, who's appeared. So, I mean, there's definitely some fresh characters that have come in for Season 2.
Look, yep, it's a good start so far. Looking forward to the rest of the season, but it's an 8 out of 10.
Because you think about it, like Season 1, the only character that was around that you lost was Rudy. Alright, yeah. Maybe had Perry. He was in it a little bit. And the guy with the limbs.
No, but he's alive.
But no, I think the... Other than Brian Moser, I think the characters in Season 2 have been a bit better.
Well, they have been.
So yeah, we'll see how this continues, guys. Anyway, that's it. 8 out of 10. Let us know your thoughts down below, and we'll catch you in the next one. Till then, though, peace.